Good afternoon and good Saturday, everybody. My name is Miguel, aka Mighty Migs, and I'm the host for this Passion for Acting podcast. My apologies, bit of a stutter there, but it is my great pleasure to introduce today's guest, which is my friend and fellow actor Monique Barrios. Welcome aboard.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Cool. Hey, pleasure. Pleasure's mine as well. So it goes both ways. So it takes two to tango in this context. But before we go further ahead, I'd like to mention that this podcast is actually sponsored by Sydney Actors Association. So visit their Instagram page on the description box below if you're watching this on YouTube. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to this Passion for Acting podcast. It'll help me boost the channel and encourage me to keep continuing on. But without further ado, we'll go straight into it. So Monique, please give us an introduction about yourself.
Hello. Hi, well, my name is Monique. I am, as you said, a fellow actor. I'm also a dancer and singer. I'm a mother of two beautiful little girls, and I spend my days teaching and mentoring sort of the next generation of young performers, as well as, pursuing my passion myself.
Awesome. You know what? It goes hand in hand, So being a mother, being a wife to a gorgeous husband, I'm assuming. And,
him too. Yes.
Don't forget him, So yeah.
Oh, the kids are gorgeous. That guy. That kind of need him.
Well, of course, it takes two to tango in marriages, but I respect that. Yeah. So, what inspired you to become an actor, Monique?
Well, it's a long journey. I guess I've always had a passion for performing. I grew up as a dancer, and when I left high school, I was accepted into a full-time dance program. And growing up in a rural area, once I got into the big city and kind of saw the level that the dancers were at in the city, I was like, oh, I've got some work to do. So I kind of found myself really relying on my other skills. Growing up doing musical theatre, I'd always had a passion for acting and singing as well. And those two skills kind of became my main skill set while I was doing my dance training. While I was, I guess, building up my technique and advancing myself, I would rely on my acting and singing to kind of help boost me up and help me by as I was training in those early years. And I just fell in love with acting. I had some wonderful teachers and coaches while I was there that really encouraged me, and one of which who we still train with, SAA. I trained with Sam all the way back in the day when I was little 18-year-olds fresh out of the country.
Wow.
And just thanks to lovely teachers like that were like, hey, like, you're really good at this thing, like, keep going, keep working at it. And it became, I guess, a new passion out of pure chance and circumstance. Awesome.
But was there any movies or anything like that inspired you, that catapulted you at all, that just pushed you as well, or what?
I guess I've always just lived in this world. As I said, I grew up a dancer, so I grew up watching Gene Kelly and Sid Charisse and the Elvis movies and all those cool old school classics. Wow. I always saw acting and dancing as a hand in hand kind of thing. Like, you couldn't really, for me, I didn't really do one without the other. The acting was so crucial to my dancing, and my dancing helped me with telling the story when I was acting and performing in that way.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, it's similar to me with martial arts. Martial arts and acting go hand in hand. But this isn't about me. This is about you. But, that's actually inspiring indeed, because, when you just mentioned that, I could imagine you in a movie called, Step Up or Step Up 2. Maybe Step Up Down Under, in
Down
Sydney.
Under, let's go.
Yeah, g'day, mates. You want to go dance with me? Actually, no. Let's make it more classy than that.
Meet you in the Woolies car park. Dance. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Let's try not to sound like we're from the West. Try to sound like we're from the North Shore or the eastern suburbs.
There's lots of different sides to Australia.
I know. I'm just kidding. So, no, because being a Westie myself, I end up doing a lot of jokes about the West. Of course, that's just the way we are brought up, So, but
I guess this is when I don't mention I grew up in the Sutherland Shire. We're not friends.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I thought we were both Aussies, but
Hey.
Amen. So yeah, but that's exciting stuff. So obviously you've given that passion for your acting and your even dancing for your kids, I mean, are your little kids actors as well, or?
Oh, through and through, they're just little performers. I think that what I love, and this has sort of come up a few times this week, is that, you know, myself growing up, I was the only one in my family that was into performing arts, aside from my grandmother, who encouraged me, and you know, it was a different sort of upbringing. I spent my weekends going to footy games to support my brothers, and until I was kind of driving myself around, and I'd get to shows and do a bit more as I got older. My kids are literally sitting on the stage when I'm choreographing a show or rehearsing something. They're sitting there. I have a really cute photo of my older daughter when she was 2 in a milk crate while I was choreographing Rent, sitting in a milk crate, eating a piece of banana bread, just like completely immersed in everything that was going on, watching these people like rehearse on stage. And it's really, really gorgeous seeing them just so involved in it, and it's their place of play. And I guess it really reminds me as well that acting is just play, and seeing them and the way they create, the way they just exist in the world and around music and theatre is just really inspiring in a whole nother way, to just go, oh yeah, that's right, this is playtime. We're just putting on a voice and putting on a costume and playing a character and having fun with it. And it's a good reminder when things get, you know, tough, or we're working on really hard scenes, just being like, this is playtime, just play. And it's really refreshing.
I know, because just like in the Bible, it does say, like, you know, childlike faith, but we can have that childlike kind of faith in, in acting, you know, because I remember, like, as a little kid, I'm pretty sure you're going to be similar to this. Like, you know, I could imagine myself, I had this little water pistol, just imagine myself shooting dragons and zombies and all that stuff. And I'm just like, people are, you know, Parramatta days, right? And people were just looking at me outside their home window, and like, who's this weirdo, you know? Just and you're something similar with that, except maybe you were dancing a little bit more. Or... Definitely
was dancing a lot, and you know, I was probably wielding fake swords and pretending I was some sort of elven princess in, you know, Lord of the Rings.
Come to think of it, you could actually I don't remember Liv Tyler's character in the film back in the early 2000s, but you could actually play that right now, right?
Oh, Arwen. She's like inspiration right there. That she was just so beautiful in the films.
Yeah. Look, I used to have a crush on her as well during that time. So yeah,
she's stunning. She's so beautiful.
Yeah. She was actually in Armageddon as well, and a few other movies. I can't remember which ones now. But, you know, Armageddon was the one that actually made me realize who she is, you know, because she was playing the lover of Ben Affleck and the daughter of Bruce Willis there and stuff like that. Yeah. But look, that's pretty inspiring stuff. And maybe that just explains that your graceful character in real life as well, because, like, you know, dancers in general, or especially ballerinas, and whether you're a guy or a girl, like, you know, just very graceful people, you know. So the sophistication, you know. So that's why, in a way, when you said, "Oh, let's work together in this UK dialect thing," it's like, yeah, I think this is Money Penny that I'm looking for. So
hey,
yeah, there we go. So
so much fun.
Oh, exactly. That's the beauty about acting. You're just imagining, you know, just like it's to develop that inner kid again. Just get it out and just make sure that when you perform, try to have fun, because I forget to have fun quite often, especially with self-tapes. And I go blah 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 blah, and I forget my line, and I just end up cursing or chucking a tantrum on the inside or the outside. But don't be like
sometimes we take it so seriously, because, you know, especially with self-tapes, like this is our job, this is something that we're working for, and we want to get it right. And it's that childlike mindset sometimes is really good to just get us out of our head a little bit and just be and exist and live the characters. Like, we see little ones running around, they're like, I'm Spider-Man, pew pew, and they just, you know, don't think twice about it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, exactly. And you don't care what other people think. You know?
Yeah, it's just so gorgeous.
And as adults, as performers, it takes time to develop for some people. For me, it didn't take me too long to actually develop that feeling of, I don't care what other people think. I'm going to act. I'm going to memorize my scripts. And that's pretty much the case with yourself as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it took me a long time to pull myself out of the boxes that I'd put myself in, but also, you know, I guess the people around me, teachers, you know, accidentally and things like that go, oh, like, you're such, you know, a musical theatre girl. that's your shtick. You're an actor and a dancer. You're musical theatre. And so getting into straight acting and doing plays and things like that was something I was terrified of for years, because I'm like, oh, I'm just a bubbly theatre kid. Like, I'll do a tap dance for you. It was definitely something that it took a little bit of time. And, as I've done more and more plays and more little like projects and things like that, I'm just like, oh, like, yeah, I can do this thing. That's right. It's just another shade of the rainbow, really.
Yeah. You know what? Experience is the best teacher. So like what you said, it took you a little while. So after a little while, it's just almost second nature. Not to say that you don't get nervous as well. I mean, we both get nervous as individuals.
Yeah.
So,
and I think if you don't get nervous, maybe you're not as passionate about the project. I always find nerves is a byproduct of, passion. If you're really, into something, really excited about something, and you care about it a lot, you want to do it good, and that's where the nerves tend to like kick in.
Yep, that's a better way of what do you say? Say about it, because for me, I always say that if I'm nervous about something, I'm serious about it. But I think passion is actually the better word for it, because when you say, "Oh, I'm nervous because I'm serious," I'm taking it way too seriously, and then you forget to have fun. You forget to relax. So I'm guilty of that. Guilty as charged. I could have been in jail.
All are.
Guilty, like as in like I could be in jail for that, if there was a moral judgment on me.
Moral police.
Moral police, exactly. That's a good point. Yes, I just don't. I'm underground actually. I'm just kidding. But yeah. Look, speaking of that, like you love your stage. Talk about your your short and sweet experience recently.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Like that was a really special moment. Again, it was one of those, I took about a 5-6 year hiatus from acting while I was having my kids, and just recently came back in the last 18 months. And sort of in that time, I'd gone back to a bit of musical theatre, a few things, and this was Short and Sweet came around in the Illawarra, which is where I work predominantly. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. This will be a bit of fun. Went auditioned, got a couple of offers. I did 2 plays, and 2 very different plays. One was a 10-minute monologue about the memoirs of a ballerina, and another was a really quirky 2-hander, which was really fun as well. And the feedback I received from that experience was just really beautiful and really comforting. Being on stage and getting to combine my 2 passions with acting and dancing. In this monologue, I was, talking about the experiences of every dancer, of not being good enough, not being perfect enough, not having the best technique, and kind of falling out of love. Well, not falling out of love with dancing, but, because not being good enough for the industry, so to speak, and giving up on it, even though it was still a love and a passion. It was a beautiful piece. And I guess really hit home for me as well, because there were things I experienced. I was the kid that didn't have the best technique, that had to work really hard to build my skills and build myself up. And so it was when they announced that we won the Illawarra judge's choice, I was like, what? What? Me? Like, oh, I'm like, I was really taken aback, because it was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've done, like having to really, it was such a vulnerable piece for me, because it was very much my experience as much as it was the writer's experience. It's a shared experience that every dancer has been through. So then after winning Judge's Choice in Wollongong, we got to go to Sydney, and that was just wonderful, like getting on stage in the city again, and meeting lots of other wonderful actors and writers and directors through the other pieces that I was performing alongside, getting to meet with patrons after the show that would come up and say, oh my gosh, I grew up as a dancer too. Like, that was so beautiful. Like, I feel what you felt, and that was just so real and so genuine. Is this your story? I'm like, oh no, it's not my story. It's it's Katrina's. She wrote this, and I'd say a bit about her, and they're like, oh, it's just so it just seemed so honest. And I'm just like, in my little self, I'm just like, because I was just like, that's like the goal of every actor, I think, is to have a really honest, genuine, believable performance that touches other people as well and moves them as well. So it was a really beautiful experience, and just a really uplifting one, I guess, for myself, coming back to acting at 35 after a big break, to go, hey, like, you got this, you can do this. And it was just a really beautiful, heartwarming, exciting experience. I loved it, every second of it.
Wow. You know what? When you just said you guys just won and all that stuff, it's like a movie. I'm not saying that this is fictional, but it's just like one of those, like, Top Gun Maverick moments where you just like, oh, you feel like you're in a high, you leave that
100%.
theater, you're just pinching yourself, did I just win that? I can't believe that out of all the people that entered this competition here, I won, and just like, what made me win, and just like, how did I deserve such a thing? And then a lot of times you feel unworthy with that, but you know what? Whenever that happens, you deserve every single bit of it, because, like, not, unless you bribe the judges, which I know you didn't.
Did not do that.
Which I know you didn't. You deserve every single one of it, because your time to shine. You know what I mean? Because, like, when you're competing in stuff like in competitions like that, or in moments like that, you have to give it your best shot. And how do you give it your best shot? You just have fun. Because, like, when you're having fun, you produce the best results. Not too much fun, of course, because, like, you gotta, like,
do the job. But I completely agree. I did have that moment of just like, oh, like, but I didn't really do anything. I was just being myself. Ta-da! Light bulb. That's the whole point.
Well,
the whole point.
That's interesting, because when they thought it was your story, because you actually played the role well then, because if they thought it was really your story. Yeah.
It was that moment of like, oh yeah, that's the thing. And I did have those moments where I'm like, oh, do I really deserve this? I didn't really do much. I just said the words and did the thing, but the
judges saw it the other way around, because
it was so genuine. Like, it was just like, yeah, I've lived through this, been through this. I've had these things said to me, and I kind of got lost in that and just, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, you know what? That's one of those moments where you just, you've made the right decision to keep pursuing acting again after like a 5 or 6 years hiatus after becoming a mum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because,
yeah. Like, you're kind of like, can I still do this? Do I know? Am I too old for this? I don't know.
Well, look, I can't speak for everybody, but the thing is, acting is one of those things. Whether you're a guy or a girl, you there's no age limit, because some people will say that. Some people say, oh, yeah, you're too old for this and that. But you know what? Just give it a big F you. I'm not going to swear in this podcast because I'm trying to be a good boy here, because I'm trying to make it. But at the same time, you know what I mean? But, one of the things that you should do if that happens, when people give you a naysay of some sort, just work hard in silence and let the progress and the success do all the talking for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the way
100%.
I look at things, because especially I know how the ladies work in terms of, like, in the dating scene, for example, like, where mystery intrigues women. Just like, for me, I like to be as mysterious as I can, not in a creepy way, but it's just like, I want to keep my mouth shut and just
a bit of intrigue. Gotta be an intrigue. You want to, like, get to know someone, find out about them.
Yeah. But you don't have to say much, at the end, like, at the beginning, because it's just like, anyway, that's a different topic. That's just dating. So let's go back to the art of acting. Yeah. So before we get into the next question, I like how you just said, like, there's a 10-minute monologue just there. And I've never seen a 10-minute monologue. Maybe I have, but I can't remember. But that must have been like, was it just like, talking straight, or you doing some actions in between, some paragraphs here? Or...
Yeah, it was a lot. It was probably 10 to 12 minutes worth of dialogue. So within the realms of short and sweet, where you have a 10-minute time limit, it was pretty intense. So I did have to really work to keep to the time. When I was, I guess, rehearsing in the early stages, it was probably about a 10 to 12 minute piece of just dialogue, but I was talking and dancing at the same time. So I would be explaining a dance sequence or a combination of steps, and I'd be physically demonstrating those steps at the same time. The first sequence I enter and I place my hand on the bar and I start doing a set of pliés while talking about what is a plié. It's a bend of the knees, really easy. And then going, but, let's talk about all the corrections and things. So while I'm demonstrating the pliés, I'm talking about straightening the spine and knees over toes and following the hand and all of this. So it was a lot of physical movement and dancing, as well as all of the acting and the dialogue as well. It was hard work to keep it under 10 minutes. I have to say, I came very close, very, very close to almost not making it to the judging. Yeah, like I got my final warning on the last night because I just kept going over time. And I made it by a whole 10 seconds. I was 10 seconds under time on the last night. And I'm like, okay, I made it.
Oh, wow.
Qualify. Because it was just so much work, which I'm really excited. The author of the piece and the director that I worked with down in Wollongong want to actually extend the piece next year. So I think we're going to be rewriting, reworking, and doing it for another short play festival next year. And it's probably going to be maybe about a 15-20 minute piece. We're going to be adding in a whole bunch of extra scenes, no time limits, no restrictions, just the story, which I'm very excited about. Yeah.
You know what? That's exciting stuff, because,
Yeah.
a director just approached you with another opportunity just like that. Just like I said, that validates your decision to pursue acting again after a 5 or 6 year hiatus as becoming a mother. You know what I mean? Being a parent has its rewards, so I could respect that. It has a lot of responsibilities, so good on your mum. So thanks. You go, girl. But but your hubby's not a performer either, is he?
No, he's not. He's a personal trainer.
I know he's a personal trainer.
And a martial artist like yourself, but no. He's a goofball. He's an absolute goofball. And we're always kind of bantering, but he's not a performer. He's not a dancer. He definitely cannot dance. No, not at all. Maybe
I was going to say
T-Rex dancing,
But if he was an actor as well, I would have been the Asian version of him. He would have been the white boy version of me. So.
Yeah, the Latina version.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of fun though. It's nice. We've got very similar, because we're both very busy, active people, and we're both really into reading and fantasy novels and movies, and we're big movie buffs. So we've kind of got those common interests in that way. But it's also kind of nice to have our separate interests too, which is really good.
Of course, yeah. Because for me, I don't. If I was meant to get married, I wouldn't want to. I'm saying this now anyway, but I wouldn't want to date or marry an actor. I mean, maybe an actor, but not a personal trainer, because it'll be boring. It'll be boring for me. So that's just me, because you got to have your differences. You got your common interests, but I think it's so important to have things that are different about each other, so that you've got new things to learn and new things to grow from. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Because you can talk about something, but I guess that I am no relationship expert, but I can only imagine that as long as you both click and as long as you guys, the couple actually just gets along like bread and butter, and you're compatible 100%. In the long run. Yeah, that's all I'm assuming. But you know what? That's
pretty much. Just figure out the rest as you go.
Yeah. And you've been married for how long now?
8 years.
8 years. Okay.
8 years. Yeah.
You're past the 7-year mark. This is until death do you guys apart. This is
well,
awesome.
We've been together since we were 19. So
that even validates that.
It's 15, 16 years we've been together. So yeah, I think we've definitely made it through the 7 years.
Well, that validates my point, because the good thing is that you guys are going to be retiring together, and stuff like cute. That. Yeah, exactly. Super cute. But enjoy the time before you get there. So
playing D&D in the retirement home. That'll be us.
Wow. Anyway, look, at the beginning of this, you actually mentioned about, like, of course, I already know that you're an actor and a dancer, but how does that go hand in hand in a more adept way for you? Like,
Yeah,
being an
definitely.
actor and dancer.
It's for me. It's always kind of been a no-brainer. Pieces like Hand on the Bar that I did for Short and Sweet are very rare, where I'm actually dancing properly and acting at the same time outside of musical theatre. Musical theatre is a huge passion of mine. I love me some musical theatre. It's so much fun. So I guess when it comes to my acting, I don't know. I do find I tend to approach characters from a more physical sense first. If I know how a character like stands and moves and walks, and I'm the sort of person, I'm that actor that will go out and buy the pair of shoes that I'm wearing in the show and practice in those shoes every rehearsal to like kind of get the feel. I can't do rehearsals in like my sneakers and then be walking around. Great example. I did the Tempest early, not the Tempest, Taming of the Shrew. The other one that starts with a T. Did Taming of the Shrew earlier this year and was playing Bianca, and I had to wear knee-high white boots. It was a 1960s vibe. And that was like the first thing I had to go out and get on my costume list, and I was hunting everywhere because I literally didn't feel like my version of Bianca until I had the shoes. And then all of a sudden, once I had the shoes, I'm like, oh, there she is. Like, and I could move around and bounce around and move as I wanted to for that character. And I did find that until I was moving like Bianca, I didn't really feel I like dropped into the role fully. So I guess I do really approach my acting from that physical sense, and that's where I build my characters from. And then once I feel like it physically, I find it so much easier to drop into it emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and that whole side just kind of almost comes a lot more naturally then for me.
Of course.
Yeah.
People have different approaches to that.
Yeah.
Some people will, the way you do it from outside in, some people will do it from inside out, actually. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But you're unique in your own way, and I've seen some of your work, so which is awesome. So it seems to be working, and just keep progressing. So don't aim for perfection. Aim
Keep
for
doing what we
progression.
do.
Yes.
100%.
yeah.
Yes.
So
I
it's
love
just-
that phrase.
Oh yeah, of course. I heard that from one of the former UFC champions. Actually, I know you're not into the UFC, but
Haven't got a clue. My husband does. I don't have a clue.
introduce me to your husband. I think he's already the
I think
best
you
friend.
guys would be good mates.
I was going to say he's like the best friend I've actually never met before yet. So yeah, you never know.
Yes.
So yeah, but yeah, of course. Like what's his name again? Your hubby.
Alex.
Alex, okay. I think I've got a
Yeah.
more Latino name than he does. So Miguel Sebastian. So
Yeah, I know. He's so boring. He's Alexander.
but Alex Barrios.
Alexander. But Barrios. The Spanish is there in the Barrios.
Alex Barrios, Señor Barrios, ¿cómo
Barrios.
estás? Muy bien.
Yes.
Yeah, but look, it is what it is. But your journey's been unique in so many ways because I haven't really met much actors who are dancers like yourself. So in a way, so if they're actually asking for a brief for like a dancer from this age group or like yada yada, that I'm assuming you'd be the good fit for that anyway. So do you get much briefs for that kind of role?
Yeah, when they roll around, it's an interesting mix because a lot of the time they're either looking for a like dancer, and look, being 35, I can't kick my legs up as high as I used to. I've had 2 kids and I'm in my 30s, and my hips and my knees just don't like to do that anymore. So you either have people that are hardcore dancers and still training in that way, and then you have maybe, I guess, more semi-retired dancers like myself that I can still do a lot, and I can still I still have a lot of technique and I still have a lot of things, but I'm not going to compete with an 18-year-old that's fresh out of full-time. It's a interesting world being a dancer and sort of where you fit at my age. So brief wise, I probably don't see as many things sort of coming my way that have those dance skills required. They're usually more things that they're like actors who can move, and I'm like, well, I can do more than move. But then they want dancers who can act, and I'm like, well, I can do more than just act, but I'm not doing like triple pirouettes anymore. That
Of
was
course.
18-year-old Mon. So it's an interesting gray area that I'm learning to navigate, kind of stepping back in at my age and after a break, and kind of also, relearning how to use my body after having 2 children. My body's very different compared to before I had kids. So it's a whole journey, and it's a whole process. And I definitely would love to see more castings that involved older dancers. Like, there are lots of us around, in my age bracket that are still dancing, and that have the experience and maybe like the other skills of acting, that we've developed along the way. So it would be nice to see that. I think the last big dance audition I went to for a musical, I was pretty sure I was the eldest person in the room. I was like, that was in a room with like a whole heap of like little 18-year-old, 19-year-olds fresh out of full time. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. I felt ancient. At the time I was like 26.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah. And so it is a very interesting world, blending the two. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, you know what? That when you said you wish that there was actually more briefs that'll suit around your age group.
So maybe one day.
Yeah, look, but the thing is, whether that happens or not, that's beyond your control. But what you can do, but what you're in control of, you can make your own passion projects. You know what I mean? Just you could actually have your own low budget feature film, or just your short film. Just play the characters you love to do, because this is one of the things that I talked to with John Clare as well. Because John Clare and I have a very good relationship. In some cases, people thought that we're father and son. It's not racist, but I take it as a compliment. But it's just,
definitely.
Yeah, because people called him Mr. Sebastian one time, and the times that he's seen me perform on stage and stuff, and this is my agent and my dad. So,
but it's lovely that you guys have that relationship too. Jean Claire's always so kind and generous in his mentoring of all of us. Like, he is almost like a bit of a father figure.
Yeah, he is, because he's like a father, and an uncle figure to someone like myself as well. Because have you seen that? Did you get to watch that episode that he and I just then, or not yet?
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to watch it this afternoon.
Yeah, whenever you can. But you'll see it, because he saw the potential in me when I didn't really have much confidence when I was a lot younger. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have the proper agent, and I did have an agent, but she was just leaving me hanging often, and I just didn't like the way she was managing me and other people. And I was looking for a new guy, And then one of my mates, Rudy, who's also an actor and a personal trainer, said, "Hey, look, my agent could end up choosing you." So his name is John Clare Lee from Sydney Talent Company. Tell him I sent you, and hopefully he'll accept you. But being the green guy that I was back then, with didn't have a proper show reel and outdated portfolio, and I wasn't really confident in walking to the audition room as much as I am now. He just he saw beyond what he saw that day, and he helped me work on my craft, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah. Beautiful. And have you met Daniel Sasson as well?
I haven't met Daniel, no.
Oh, okay. Well, he's one of the guys who used to lecture in Sydney Talent Company, the acting classes, so in Balcombe Hills, and that's where I met him. And even up to this day, he doesn't coach as much as he used to anymore, but he's still one of my acting coaches, along with Sam Haft as well. He's still one of my acting coaches, so you can get different perspectives from different people, but at the same time
100%.
Yeah, but it depends though. But what John Clare says, you just got to stick with one acting coach at a time, depending on the gig. Otherwise you might get confused with different what do you call that? Advice, different perspectives. Yeah, but
definitely.
Yeah. But he's got a good point in that. So yeah. Now, before we conclude momentarily, who inspires you? I mean, which actors inspire you?
Oh, okay. Oh, definitely the Queen, Kate Blanchett. Hands down.
Yep.
She is just an icon, and just everything about her and what she brings to the screen, and just the, I guess, purity of her acting. I think purity is the word I want to use. It just seems just so, it's just so real and just so beautiful. She's definitely a huge inspiration. And, you know, like I said, little fantasy girl growing up watching Galadriel on stage, just being like, ah!
Wow. I first saw her in Titanic, and as a little 14-year-old kid, like I had a crush on her back then, you know. Even right now, she looks very good for her age. You know, she's still an attractive girl, you know. Yeah. And,
Definitely.
Yeah, she's been in a few major movies recently, or maybe even more than a few. But you know, she's still doing well for herself. So
still doing so much.
Exactly. Let her continue to inspire you then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Because you know, I mean, and apparently she's good to work with, and she's very fond of Leo. She and Leo are actually like best friends, or like very close friends in real life. You know, they've starred in so many movies together, and yada 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 since Titanic, and you know, they're still very good friends. You know, so after this day.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
And who else? Let me think. It's just I made a list. Like when I read that question, I'm like, there's just so many. There's so many.
Oh, we'll finish in a second, Christy. Just give us a second, please. Okay.
Yep, no worries.
Okay. All right. Yep, keep going.
Yeah. Sorry, just getting my train of thought back. Who else? So people that inspire me. Oh, actors that inspire me. Another actress that I've been watching a lot of lately is Jodie Comer.
Yeah.
Really, again, another really beautiful actor that just has such vulnerability in her acting, and in all the roles that she plays. I absolutely adore Jodie's approach to especially her really emotional roles. They're absolutely stunning and so genuine and moving. So I guess that as a woman, they are two women in the acting world that I really look up to and really inspired by.
Wow, because I've never heard of Jodie Comer. Maybe I have, but you know, maybe I have seen her in a few things here and there. But you know, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, she's fairly new to the. I guess new to bigger films. Just the last few years. I think the first film I saw of hers was The Last Duel, which I watched over Christmas, and that was it's a beautiful film. It's a really, really cleverly done film, and it's done from 3 different perspectives. And what I especially loved about her role is how she plays her character through one man's eyes, through the other man's eyes, and then she plays through her eyes, because it's from those 3 characters' perspectives, and the way that she changes little nuances and little things about her acting in each of the different viewpoints, and then just the extreme vulnerability and openness in her viewpoint, in her character's viewpoint, was just had me absolutely blown away. It was I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful piece of cinema.
Oh, okay. Wow. I mean, you gotta DM me these messages. You know what I mean?
Because I'll send you a list. Send you a list.
Yeah. I would love that, because, because for me, I'm an action movie buff, but every now and then it's just good to get out of the action genre. So,
I tell you what, it's action. It's swords over weapons. It's basically the story of the last trial by combat in France.
Yeah.
And don't worry, there's plenty, for those of you that like the action, there's plenty of epic battle scenes. There's some really good fight scenes, as well as just some spectacular acting.
All right, I'm going to find it on Netflix, just to remind me later if that's okay. But you know what? Yeah, before we give you some final closing thoughts, I mean, a couple of ladies who actually aged very well and are still very attractive is, what's her name? She was in Top Gun Maverick, Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, she's still gorgeous after all these years. Also, the Marissa Tomei when I saw her in Spider-Man: No Way Home, and just like wow, So you can be like them as well. You can be like them as well because you look after yourself.
Yeah, I think the grace that these women like carry themselves with on film is really is one of the most inspiring things. Is just there are so many beautiful female actors out there of all ages, and I think the one thing that I find just the most inspiring is just the absolute grace that every one of them carry themselves with, like people like Dame Judi Dench, who is just an absolute character and just such a beautiful, genuine person on film as well. She I miss her as M, but she's moving on to bigger and better things for herself. She's wonderful.
I mean, Skyfall, damn, that's my favorite Bond movie of all time. So close second is GoldenEye, but it is what it is. But you know what? Do you have any closing thoughts for our fellow actors out there, or anybody who's thinking about getting into acting, or people who are actually feeling like they're giving up on acting? Would you have any words of encouragement at all, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think point one, don't forget to play. I think we've talked about that a lot today, is that don't forget to play and have fun in what we're doing. Like, at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of adults playing dress-ups and make-believe. And I think we need to just remember to have fun with it and enjoy it. I'd also, I guess, for anyone, starting out or, looking into getting into acting, I'd really say, like, go and do a movement class. Go and do a beginner's dance class. Go take some singing lessons. Go to your acting lessons. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Because I found that over all of my years of training as a singer and a dancer and an actor, that what I learned in one discipline has melted into the other and helped me with something in another discipline, and the lines blur constantly, and there's always something that I can pick up in a role or something. I'm like, that's like, I can use this, or that vocal technique that I used, or that I really feel like they walk or move like this. So I'd really say, like, when you're looking at doing your training, especially young actors, when you're looking at doing your training, work hard on your acting, work hard on your skills, but also, make sure you're well-rounded. Make sure that you are, give yourself an opportunity to go to a movement or a dance class, go do some vocal lessons, some singing lessons, and just put as many tools in your toolkit as you can, because you never know when they're going to come in handy.
That's cool. That's true, actually. So, but well done. That's very encouraging, very informative, and very practical, So we appreciate your time. But it is what it is, guys. But you know what? It's always a pleasure. I'm pretty sure, we're going to see each other before the year ends and yada yada in acting class anyway. It's in the Actors Association, So for these of you guys viewing, thank you so much for doing so. And please, on the description boxes below, please follow my pages. I have a few different pages along with Monique's as well, so I'm going to put that in the description box below in a second, so follow that, and that'll be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't done so yet, if you're watching this on YouTube, please press the like and subscribe buttons. It'll go a long way, and that'll also be greatly appreciated. So until the next episode, everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Miguel, aka Mighty Migs, and this is Monique.
Monique, sorry, your video's gone blank, so I can't see anything. I can't see you.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. Okay.
I know, it's weird. But hey, yes, this is Monique.
Indeed, yep. So thank you guys for tuning in, and have a good day. Take good care. Adios.
Ciao.
Yeah, hey, thanks for